And we are live. Guys, I'd like to welcome you to the Let's Talk Fishing video podcast. My name is Jay Angel. I'm going to be your host for tonight's festivities. The podcast is going to be moving to Thursdays now. It's just some stuff at work, guys. I have to be there on Wednesday until later now. So Thursday is going to be the podcast night. And there's fewer podcasts that go on Thursdays anyways. I'm not competing with anybody on Thursdays. It's a great thing. But enough about that. Man, my next guest, I fished with this guy a bunch of times. He never fails to produce. I go out there, we catch reds, we catch trout, we catch sheep's heads. Sometimes we even catch big old nasty catfish, but that happens. But Lake Calcasieu really is a special place. There are enormous trout in Lake Calcasieu, and there are numbers of enormous trout there. I've caught 20-inch plus trout there every time I've gone out with Captain Tommy. But anyways, without further ado, Captain Tommy from Fishing Tom Guide Service. How you doing tonight, Tom?
Doing great, Jay. Glad to be out here with you.
So I've had such a hard time this last month. I'm looking forward to fishing with you so much on Tuesday. We're going to do kind of a pre and post fishing trip here, podcast here. You know, I fished with him enough times. I know what he fishes like. I know how he fishes, and I know where he fishes. I don't get to get out there anywhere near enough to fish with him. So how's the fishing been, Tommy?
Fishing's been really good as far as the whole year goes. The last couple of weeks has been a little bit of a struggle. For some reason, they've been having trouble getting live bait. Hasn't been slowing down the production much, and we're still catching some pretty good stuff on artificials and dead bait. You just gotta find the fish and throw something in front of them that they want to eat. Still doing good. Lots of fish for the customers. Lots of good times. Several big bull reds, bull drum.
Nice.
Some nice trout being caught as well. My partner went out today, and he said he lost one of the biggest trout that he had probably ever seen right up next to the boat. They were fighting a large trout for a while, and it just wore through the leader and broke off pretty close to the boat. It was pretty disappointing, but the fish are out there. We're having a good time and catching a bunch of them.
Trout are a difficult fish. When I see I have a big trout, man, I just reel it in. So I tell you, you got to sweet talk them in.
Yeah.
You got to be so careful. They have such a soft mouth, and like you said, they have two big fangs in the front of their mouth, and that's sitting there wearing on your leader as you're bringing it in. That's why we discussed this. Tommy and I were discussing this before, but you okay? I want to talk about this first.
Okay.
The Mojo shrimp. This is my favorite trout lure, but also I catch a lot of fish on the Matrix shad too.
Yeah, I love the Mojo shrimp. That's a great product. We use it pretty regular.
And also these. If the water's a little more stained, I like to use this color.
There you
if
go.
It's not as white as stained. I like to use something, salt and pepper colored. I'm sure everybody knows what that looks like. Or salt and pepper with some glitter in it. Man, I tell you what, guy who makes Matrix shad fishes almost every day in Lake Pontchartrain, and he is a trout master. He just goes out there and fishes for himself, by himself most of the time, and just freaking nails big trout. And Pontchartrain isn't known for big trout, but he knows where they are.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't, man, it might be just every bit as good a fishery as Calcasieu, but I just don't see the numbers of big trout coming out of there like I do in Calcasieu. And I see them regularly coming out of Calcasieu.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Pretty regular.
So what have you been catching the reds on, Tommy?
Redfish have been mostly on dead shrimp. We've just been free lining them. Either with a drop shot or a quarter-ounce lead head, fishing flowing water within about 6 to 8 feet of water, just getting in there where the bait's moving through, and then fish are stacked up either on points or on drains, small bayous coming into big bayous, and just fishing the current, throwing up current and working that shrimp back down with the current, and at some point they've been just smashing it.
You know, that's exactly how my wife likes to fish. She likes to put dead bait on the bottom and just sit there. I can't do that. I cannot sit there and just
Yeah.
here fishy, fishy, fishy. No, man. Cast, 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 cast. If they're in there, I'm going to find them.
Yeah. You like a little more active fishing.
And yeah, well, you know, it comes from my bass fishing roots. You know that.
Yeah.
You always be casting. ABC.
Yep.
Always be casting. And she likes to sit there with her drink and wait for a fish.
Yeah. Well, that's like that time we went to the jetties. We were slow fishing. You're like, hey, let me put the little plastic on. And bam, bam, two big old reds in a row.
One of those reds was monstrous, man. That's one of the bigger reds I've ever caught. And I caught that thing flipping. That's so much fun.
Yeah.
Remember, you came back there and you're like, that's a bite. I'm like, that little tap, tap, tap. He said, set the hook next time that happened. Bam, whoa, yeah, you were right, Tommy. Guys, you want to contact Captain Tommy? That is his phone number. You will talk to Tommy. Book him. You can fly right into Houston, or is there an airport in Lake Charles?
Yeah, we got an airport in Lake Charles. We also have, if anybody has any private planes, I've got a couple customers that come in on their private planes to a landing field that's about 5 minutes from my lodge. I've gone over there, picked them up, brought them to the lodge, let them enjoy the evening, go out the next morning, catch some fish. Some say a couple of days, some just in and out. But yeah, there's definitely plane access to our area. Lake Charles Regional Airport is here, about 20 minutes from where we're located as well. So yeah, if you're
only a couple hours.
Sorry,
Houston's only a couple hours too, isn't it?
That's correct. It's only about a 1 hour flight. It's a 2 hour drive.
Okay, 2 hour drives, and Lafayette's only 2 hours away. So there's plenty of options to get to Tommy.
Oh yeah.
Just, fly in there. He has his own lodge, and this guy can cook, guys. He cooked us some blackened redfish that was to die for, and I don't like blackened fish. And he came in there, and he started cooking that, and said, "Oh, I'll try it." Man, I started eating that stuff. I said, "This is fish."
Yeah.
Wow, man. So, full service guide. He can put 15 people up in that lodge of yours?
Yeah, we can do 16 comfortably. Yeah, we've got it's actually two separate lodges, but it can be opened up into one. Most of the time, I'll do small groups on each side, but we accommodate large parties. I do 12 people comfortably, pretty regular. 9 people, very regular. So if you have large parties, not a problem. Corporate trips, family trips, bachelor parties, we do them all. We're able to take care of you, feed you some great meals. Our lodge is beautiful. It's well decorated, modern art, lots of fish mounts. There's a swimming pool available with a large deck, gas grills, pellet smokers. You cook or I cook. You got everything you need in the house in order to have a great time.
And also, you can accommodate large parties, can't you, on guide trips?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've got a couple of guys that work for me full time and several that work for me part time. Like I said, we're doing 4 boat trips regularly.
That is awesome.
Yeah, sure.
That is awesome, man. I mean, I can't say enough about this guy. I've caught so many fish with him. And you're going to go out with Captain Tommy. You're not just going to catch trout. You're also going to catch redfish, and you're going to catch sheep's heads. I'd like to talk a little bit about if you're going to go out with a guy like this in the bayou, not the bayou, in the marsh, you got to have a good rod. I like to use Grant rods. That's GRANDT rods, just like, the crawler on the bottom, grantrods.com. Check them out, guys. This is their CUDA series, 7 feet long, medium action. See, with this, these popping corks, they have a 1 ounce weight right here. And I can fling this thing a country mile. Get that popping cork out there. Bam, bam, bam. And, I use 20-pound braid. Tommy likes to use 30-pound braid because he catches bigger fish than I do. And, and I pop this cork. And you got to have a good rod to be able to do that if you have a really whippy Shakespeare-like thing, I catch fish on those. I've caught a lot of reds on those. But, when I'm using a popping cork, I want a superior rod that I can really whip it out there. And if I hook into a 20-pound red with 90 feet of line out there, man, you got to have some backbone to set that hook. You got to have backbone to set that hook with 90 feet of line out.
Yep. Yeah.
If you set the hook too hard on a big trout, it's just going to go right through its mouth. But if you don't set the hook hard enough on a red, you're not going to drive it home. So there's a thin line there that you got to follow. But a Grant rod, I have also this thing has enough sensitivity that if there's like a 6-inch chop on the water, and I can't really see that cork, and I can't hear it go down because it's windy, I can feel it with a Grant rod with lots of line out. That's why I don't skimp when it comes to what you're going to hook out there, man. You could be catching 13-inch trout, and the next fish could be a 20-pound red. Wouldn't you agree with that? You just never know.
You never know. You never know what you're going to catch when you're out fishing saltwater. Anybody that comes down here knows it. It could be a trout. It could be a shark. It could be a 50-pound redfish. It could be 80-pound Jack Crodell. It could be a ling. It could be a triple tail. You just never know, especially middle of the summer when that salinity's up. It's like old Forrest Gump said, it's a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
So you have caught triple tails in Calcasieu Lake?
Oh yes, absolutely.
That is wow.
Yep. Most of the time we catch them on accident, but there's a lot of times where we'll be driving around, driving by crab buoys or down at the jetties, ship channel markers and stuff. And they just sit up, like they do and lay, play dead, wait for their bait to come by, and they ambush them. And you spot them, you throw you a popping cork out there with a piece of shrimp underneath it, they're going to hit it.
That is something I've never caught. I hear that they are delicious, though.
Yes, that's like saltwater brim, saltwater crappie.
Wow. So what do you think is the best tasting fish that you can catch in Lake Calcasieu?
Oh man, depends on which day of the week it is. A triple tail are fantastic. You catch some ling cobia. That's not necessarily going to be in the lake, but something near shore, offshore. Flounder is phenomenal. We caught a bunch of flounder and cooked some up just the other day. Butterfly them open, stuff them with some crawfish dressing or some pepper jack boudin, or any kind of some shrimp and cream cheese, onions, and mushrooms. You can't go wrong with the flounder. And then you grill or blacken some redfish. You fry up some trout. Make you some street pad tacos. I mean, the list goes on and on. They're all good to eat. It just depends on your preference.
Okay, so there are just so many different things, so many different options there. So many different options. It's almost like asking you which was your favorite kid,
Right, exactly.
People ask me, what's your favorite fish to catch? Well, the one that's on my line right now.
That's it.
I like them all. I like to catch largemouth bass. I could go on and on and on, I don't have enough time, Tommy. So many fish, so little time.
Exactly. Yeah. So
many fish, so little time. Guys, I moved down here. Mostly all you guys who know me know that I started out around Chicago. I fished all those states up there. When I was living up there, I was guiding. I always had money. And I was following a couple of different tournament trails and fishing for fun all over the Northland up there, Michigan, Wisconsin. Then I moved to Alaska. And fishing in Alaska is okay if you don't mind going through 5 feet of ice for 9 months out of the year. You just go the direct opposite of Louisiana and you have Alaska weather. 9 months of winter at extreme temperatures. We get 110 down here. They get -50 up there. So, but then I came to Louisiana and I fell in love with the marsh. I have a hard time fishing for bass now, even though I love to catch bass. I just have a hard time fishing for them because, man, people say, oh, speckled trout are easy. No, not always. You'd probably agree with me there, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah. It just depends. Certain times of the year, it seems like they're everywhere. You can't go wrong. And then you get some times of the year, or maybe just one day of the week, and you're like, where in the world did they go?
I'll tell you one thing: if Tommy can't catch them on Lake Calcasieu, they're not being caught.
Yeah, that's true.
I just, that's why you want to go out with a guide, man. I don't want to have to spend. Lake Calcasieu is an enormous freaking lake, and there's a whole system there. It's not just Lake Calcasieu. There's a whole system of water. And if you have a guy who's out there every day and he has a whole network of guides they all work together, that's the only way it can work with a body of water that big. Dude, I'm grinding. Help me.
Yep.
Help me. I guided for years, man. I would do that on the small inland lakes I guided. Hey, I'm not catching anything. Help me out here. And, we all helped each other out.
Oh, yeah.
Because then, I get a desperation call from one of them. Hey, man, I'm not catching anything, Jay. Well, I'm nailing them over here. Come on over, man.
Mm-hmm.
Fish right on top of me. I don't, I just want to help you out.
Yeah, that's the thing about saltwater fish. You like it's freshwater fish. Okay, I got a good brush pile or something, and I'm tearing the crappie up over here. Well, the crappie might be there the next day and the next day and the next day. Saltwater fish, they move around so much. It's they're like, oh, okay, I caught a couple fish here. I know they're going to be there tomorrow. No, they're not. You better catch them while you're there. When you find them, that's when you need to catch them, because they might not be there tomorrow. They might not be there in an hour. Yeah. That's where we try and stay on top of the fish. We've got a good communication of guides that I have working for me, and we put everybody on the fish pretty regular. You
got to have everything together if you're going to go out to the marsh, guys. Like I said, you got to have a superior rod. You got to have a reel that works. I always bring fresh line. Always. Like he was saying, you hook into a 60-pound Jack Crevalle, and you can't stop him.
Mm-hmm.
You might have just lost 300 feet of line.
Yeah.
And you can't stop him, man. You can even start up your motor and run after him.
Yeah.
Those things are like a freight train.
Yeah.
If I even think I have one on, I grab my spool and see ya. They aren't good eating. But if you want to spend 45 minutes pulling him in, he's going to give you one heck of a fight.
That's it. Absolutely.
And that's just, man, I'm not out there to just catch any fish. I'm out there to catch the right fish.
Yeah.
And I enjoy catching trout. I think trout are a special fish. In fact, I won't kill a trout. I just think they're just a special fish, kind of like a smallmouth bass in freshwater. It's just a special fish. And I know a lot of people love to eat them. You probably love to eat them, but I like my redfish, and that's what I like to eat.
Yeah.
But guys, I'm not telling you not to eat trout, because they're a fantastic fish to eat. I have eaten them, of course. You'd be a fool not to. But yeah. I'm just picky.
They are delicious.
I just traded a bunch of redfish for some deer burger, and I'm looking forward to eating that.
Well, hopefully we'll fill you back up on some fish on Tuesday.
Oh, we will. We will. I have every bit of confidence in you, Tommy. I have every bit of confidence. And my wife's coming, and she's looking forward to sitting there, and she's very patient.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she's got me for a husband. She has to be patient.
That's right.
I am a handful, but I'm a good husband.
No,
I'm a handful. Oh, but I'm 57 years old now, so a lot of that BS has been beaten out of me over the years. So nowadays, about the only vice I have left is just fishing way too much. So let's say a little bit about popping corks.
Uh-huh.
You normally use a popping cork as opposed to just casting a jig, don't you?
Most of the time, yeah. I'd say we're probably 70% popping cork, 30% jig. Just depends on what the fish are liking the best. Of course, you can adjust the depths of your leader under the popping cork in order to get deeper water. A lot of times, if we're fishing fast-moving water, fishing a popping cork's not ideal, because by the time you cast it out, the current's bringing it all the way back to you, and you're not able to make that coverage. So we'll use a lead head and some plastics, or, like I said, drop shots. Popping corks is mainly for a little bit slower moving water. I'm not saying still water, because still water is not what you want to fish in salt water. But for slower moving water, where you got your popping cork probably moving a foot over a 30-second period, where it's still carrying down the bank or carrying down the rock line. And you pop that thing, for trout, it's a little bit more often. You want to pop it about every second. For redfish, probably about every 2 seconds, just to get that bait jumping around. I always say that popping cork's like ringing the dinner bell. It just attracts the fish to them. If you've ever gone out in the marshes and happen to come across an alligator and you're fishing a popping cork, before you know it, that alligator is coming straight over to your popping cork and he wants to eat it. Well, you can see that on the top of the water. The fish underneath the water are doing the exact same thing. You just can't see it.
Oh, yeah. And the alligators come making a beeline at about 25 miles an hour.
Yep. I've got some up on plane before.
Yeah, they do get – I've actually seen 3-footers. It looks like they're walking on water.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
A 5-footer can't do that, but a 3-footer sure can.
Yep.
One thing, I fished with a charter boat captain named Lloyd Landry. He's kind of a legend in the Dularge area. He's been doing it for about 30 years now. And he showed me he would put an 1/8 ounce jig head with a matrix shad swim bait on it. And we would pop that. And I said, you do that? He said, just try it, man. I said, yeah, you're right. I don't guide the guy. And he said, this water's moving really fast. Try this. Man, I cast it out there. Bam, bam, bam. And 18-inch trout. I had just thrown that with, the matrix or the Mojo shrimp underneath it. Got nothing. Then I tried it his way, and he said, okay, now put on this big old nasty dead shrimp and throw it right up in there against that shoreline and just let it walk down there. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to keep the boat so that you can do that. So I'm doing that. He said, don't pop it. Just let it go. Let it go. Boom, boom. Big old redfish. 2 casts. 18-inch trout, 30-inch redfish. Dude, you are cool. I like you.
Yeah. Yeah, you just need to know your waters and put the proper weight on it. Because, like I said, if you're fishing a little bit too light, then you got your bait's going to be up in the air like this, and it's not going to be at the depth that you want. You want to get that weight to get that bait down to where them fish are, and put it right in front of them. It slows it down a little bit too, and lets them, be able to attack it.
One thing he was saying that he likes to use the 1/8 ounce because then it floats down a little bit more slowly. So it gets down the depth, but we were fishing in shallow water, so just a slow fall, kind of like with the marker 54 stuff, where they naturally go down.
Yeah,
that is just, and I don't need the only marker 54 stuff I have. I bought myself,
Yeah.
So I have nothing to gain by promoting them, but.
Yeah, I got you. I'm a fan of it. Maybe they'll get on board. But marker 54 shrimp and their shrimplets. I've been catching some pretty good shrimp or pretty good trout on them lately. That's been the go-to bait that I've been using probably the past month. The guy that works for me introduced me to it. He's like, "Do you got any marker 54 shrimp on you?" I was like, "No," because he just finished limited out in an area. He said, "We were fishing with shrimp, but the shrimp were too big. They wanted the little shrimplets, which are like inches. They're teeny-tiny." And so he actually pulled up next to him. He pulled off of the school. He just gave me his rods. I hand put him in my customer's hands, and it wasn't no time we had our limited trout on.
Sometimes you are exactly right. Sometimes those trout want something small. I used to fish with a group of old retired guys. Yeah. COVID-19 took care of that, but
yeah,
we would go for a week every year in August on Grand Island. We would only fish at night. We would start fishing about 11 and come back and go to sleep about 6 in the morning after we got done flaying all our fish. And he had these little DOA, which is just a long time before the marker 54 came out, but they were just little bitty things. He said, just put that on like your wacky rigging, man. Just take a hook and put it on there and put it underneath a popping cork. And we had, the lodge had big lights. We fished under their big green lights, and man, the fish would come in there in this little bay and just round and round all night long looking for those little, I don't know if they're glass minnows or little shrimp or.
Yeah, just little shrimp or little glass minnows. Right now, baby shad. We got shad that probably ain't even an inch long that the birds have been hitting on and the fish have been hitting on too. Everything right now is real small that everything's hitting on. A lot of people, I get them on the boat and they're like, oh yeah, big shrimp, big bait, big fish, and all this kind of stuff. And to a
Not
point,
always.
but not necessarily.
Not always. Not always. Yeah, if you put on a big nasty shrimp, you might catch a big old ugly or catfish.
Yeah.
They don't seem to be very discriminating.
Oh no. Yeah,
I'm not a huge fan of catfish. I just particularly not hardheads. All those things do is they have little barbs on, kind of like a hook,
exactly.
on their
fins. Me about a week and a half ago, and I'm just now being able to bend my finger all the way. It didn't get me real bad, it just kind of it raked across my knuckle. It didn't really stick me, but they don't have to stick you. It just brushes up against your skin, and they're gonna stick you and hurt you pretty good.
Last year, Chris Harp and I went out there in Lake Calcasieu.
Yeah,
it was right after I went out with you.
Yeah,
in April, and we caught a whole bunch of trout, but none of them were very big over at that place you like to fish over by the gates.
Yeah.
And then we stopped off at one of the mid-lake reefs, and we both casted out bottom rigs because there was about 3-foot waves, and man, within a minute we were both hooked up with big fish. I'm like, man, we found the reds. No, sail cats.
Yeah,
sail cats. And then we cast it out again, thinking there might be reds here too. No, sail cats. And I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
let's just go. So, man, 3-footers. Two old guys do not need to be out in the middle of the lake with 3-footers.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, even with Chris Harp and I, man, we when we were in there, the guys were struggling who were close to the shore, and we were probably out 200 yards from the shore. And I said, let me cast this mojo, and we were catching 13 to 15 inches probably on every second cast.
Yeah.
That's a good spot right there as long as the water's moving.
Correct. Yep.
I am going to bring about 5 rods just to have a bunch of different presentations to do.
Sure.
Yeah. And guys, that's another thing about Tommy. He's got a big old boat, and it can absorb a lot of waves.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly what is it?
24-foot Nautic Star. I've got a 250 Honda on it now. I've switched from the Mercuries to Hondas. They've done really good for me.
That's what we use at work is Hondas, man. Because when we use our boats probably almost as much as you do. Mm-hmm. We have 200 Hondas, and we have dual Hondas, dual 200s on the back of those things. They're pretty reliable.
Oh yeah.
And that's what we need, and that's absolutely what you need. You don't need your boat going down.
No, I can't afford it to go down one day.
Yeah. That's why people would tell me when I was guiding, man, you must make a lot of money doing that. I said, yeah, but then my trolling motor goes out.
Right.
There's $1,000 to get it fixed.
Yeah.
When my 200 goes down, there's $3,000 to get it fixed. And then I'm in 12 feet of water, but there's 6-foot waves. I go down and I break the shaft on my motor again. Oh, got to be towed in. There's another charge.
No, it's not cheap. That's for sure. I've got 2 of everything. I got a second boat sitting at my place, but like you said, the motor on it's blown. I just replaced the brand new Honda on it. I had a Tohatsu, which is the same motor as a Honda, same design, for 8 years. Didn't have a lick of problems with it. 8 years, and didn't have a problem till the day I did. When it did, it blew. So I put a Honda on my other boat that had a Mercury, and I'll put another Honda on that one. I just don't want to do it right now and have 2 boats with brand new warranties running at the same time and not running both of them. But it won't be long. I'll have that second boat repowered. I've already got extra trolling motors, extra power poles, raptor poles, whole 9 yards. You got to have extra parts and everything.
Yeah. See, I was just a small operator on the inland lakes. I couldn't charge as much. I couldn't, but also I didn't have the overhead because a lot of times I was running my boat with a 9.9 on it. You know, that's I could run that 3 guide trips on one 6 gallon tank of gas. So
That must be nice.
that was my favorite. That was my favorite lake to guide. You don't get big waves on that. You don't have to run 30 miles down the river to fish with a 200 horse. Ugh.
Yeah.
It was really nice. It was really nice, and I loved it. Well, Tommy, man, do you have any shout outs you'd like to do?
Oh, I just shout out to Honda, shout out to Nautic Star. Like I said, I am not sponsored yet, but hopefully will be. Marker 54 shrimp. I love Duckett Saltwater Series rods. Shout out to any of my customers that are watching. We love y'all. Thank you for your support. Looking forward to fishing with you. For anybody out there looking for a fishing guide, please give me a call. Would love to fish with you, show you a great time, top notch, 5-star, accommodations, meals, fishing, the whole 9 yards. Single boat, single family, one guy, or if you got 50 guys, we can accommodate every one of those packages. And we won't disappoint. We're always on the fish. Our motto is tight lines and full coolers, and there's very rarely a time when it's not. So anybody out there looking for a fishing guide, Southwest Louisiana, Lake Calcasieu, we're in the Hackberry. We're out of Hackberry. That's Sulphur, Louisiana, Lake Charles area. If you're not familiar with it, give me a call, 318-675-9114. Look at my website, fishingtom.net. We post daily catches. So if you want to see what we're catching, go to my website. If you're wanting to target something other than what we're catching, let me know. We can make special trips. If you just want to target trout, if you just want to target redfish, we have people just want to target cheaphead. I'm one of the premier cheaphead guides on Lake Calcasieu as well. So we can target anything you like, or we can just go out and catch a whole bunch of fish and have a great time. So I appreciate you having me, Jay. And, anybody out there, please give me a call.
Yeah, thank you, Tommy. I know you're very busy. I know all successful guides are very busy. Tommy definitely is a successful guy. And I'd like to make a couple of shout outs, and I'd like to make a shout out to the Mojo Tackle Company. Thank you very much, Greg Combo, for all your support over the years. Look at this, guys. I guarantee if you throw this down in Lake Erie, you're going to catch yellow perch. I guarantee it. Throw this out in the lakes in Florida, this looks like a grass shrimp. You're going to catch crappies. But most of all, throw this out in the marsh. You never know what you're going to catch. I have caught 25-pound reds, and I have also caught 6-inch long trout and everything in between. I'd also like to thank Jim Grant of Grant Rods, great supporter of the show. Great supporter of the show. I mean, just look at that island, man. See if I can get this closer. That isn't going to, I've used this rod for 5 years now. And look at how nice that island still looks. Look at how nice this rod still looks. And people know, man, I fish for redfish a lot. And redfish are hard on equipment. And that rod is every bit as springy as it was when I got it. So anyways, guys, it's Thursday night now. Get out there and fish this weekend, man. It's bass spawning up north. Get out there. Make some memories. Take your kids fishing. Take your wife fishing. Take your girlfriend fishing. Just don't take your wife and girlfriend fishing together. So anyways, with that, man, Tommy, stick around for a couple minutes. I'd like to talk to you after the show. Everybody else, have fun fishing this weekend, guys.
Fish on.